Some brands become companies, while others become a familiar piece of household furniture. Tiger Balm is definitely the second kind. The jar is tiny, the smell is unmistakable, and nearly everyone knows what it is. But the company behind it is tougher and far more Singaporean than its packaging suggests. Its story begins in a family apothecary, travels in a car with a tiger head, and even builds a mythology park. It also nearly dies in a corporate scandal before ending up attached to billions in bank and property shares. This is not just the history of an ointment. It is the story of how a simple ritual became a global business, and how that business learned to survive. The story of Tiger Balm begins with two brothers, Boon Haw and Boon Par. Boon Haw was the tiger, a natural showman and organizer. Boon Par was the leopard, the quiet formulator who perfected the product. After inheriting their father's apothecary, in 1908, they created a perfect partnership. While folklore traces the recipe to ancient Chinese courts, the real magic was in their collaboration. One brother understood the product, and the other understood how to get attention. In 1926, Boon Haw moved the business to Singapore, dramatically increasing production. But making more was only half the strategy. He also invented what we might call a moving product launch. He traveled through towns in a custom car with a tiger head and a roaring horn, gathering crowds and handing out samples. Then came Haw Par Villa in 1937, a theme park that turned Chinese mythology into physical brand theater. Boon Haw understood that the unique scent and hexagonal jar were tools to make the brand impossible to forget. The story takes a turbulent turn in the 1970s. After listing on the stock exchange, Haw Par was taken over by a British investment group. The new owners promptly licensed away the rights to Tiger Balm in major Asian markets for 2 decades. When a market crash exposed deep financial problems, the company was brought to the brink of collapse. It required government intervention and years of careful restructuring to stabilize the business. By 1992, Haw Par finally recovered worldwide control of its most famous brand. What ultimately rescued the brand was not nostalgia, but strict governance and control of its own destiny. Here is the corporate twist that surprises most people. Tiger Balm is not a single product company. In fact, it is better to think of it as 2 money machines. The healthcare division, led by the famous ointment, generates about 91% of the group's revenue. But a portfolio of strategic investments generates about 73% of its disclosed operating profit. These holdings include massive stakes in major banks and property groups like UOB and UOL. So the ointment acts as the famous public face, while a quiet investment portfolio provides the financial power. If you enjoy discovering the business hiding behind the brand, consider liking this video and subscribing. Tiger Balm does not rely on some magical, secret pain molecule. Its core science is based on sensory chemistry, where ingredients like menthol and camphor create an immediate feeling that something is happening. The real competitive advantage, or moat, is a combination of 3 things. First is sense, which includes the cooling and warming sensations, the distinct scent, and the ritual of applying it. Second is symbol, covering the iconic tiger, the hexagonal jar, and the packaging. And third is shelf, which refers to its global distribution network. While competitors might attack one of these layers, Tiger Balm's strength comes from combining them all. Looking ahead, the potential market is enormous. The World Health Organization reports that 1.71 billion people live with musculoskeletal conditions. And by 2050, the global population over 60 will reach 2.1 billion. Haw Par's strategy is to keep the original ointment as a high-margin anchor of trust. At the same time, it is expanding into new formats, like patches and gels, for markets in North America and Europe. The challenge is to win over new users with modern convenience, without losing the heritage that made the brand famous. Can a ritual from 1909 win in 2030? The answer seems to be yes, as long as changing the format does not change the feeling.